Hello community, I hope you are doing good. In this discussion we will see how to implement client-side validation in the form view, and in case you missed previous discussion about how to implement server-side validations of the form view, please check, link is given in the description. And if you want to learn more about Odoo, you can visit the WebLearns channel. Under the playlist you can see Odoo development playlist, different playlist available with the different topic wise with the real test cases. And in case you need any support related Odoo, you can visit the about page and send your query to this email address. Source code also available in the GitHub, make sure you can follow. And we have a different social media pages, make sure you can also follow to get the latest notification. So here we try to create a new dynamic form view. So once the user will enter here the data, and it will automatically create a student profile, right? And we implemented also the server side validation. So let's say if I will click here, you can see nothing happened right here. So let's say if I will select any kind of this school XML5, right, or some wrong information, so you can see here the name field is mandatory and all, correct? And let's say if I will successfully add the correct data, then it will automatically create the record, right? Demo school, and you can see the successful student is generated, right? And if you go to here in the students, you can see like this, right? So here those are the server side validations. Now we are trying to implement in the browser level validations. All right, so for that, the first thing is we are trying to implement here a new JS file, to create a new JS file. So for that, like let's say we can use static src JS, and here we can add that specific JS file name. So let's say new student validation.js. Yes, create a file also, right? Ignore the extension, and you can see the static src.js, these three folders created. Under that folder you can see here this file is also generated. Now the thing is we have to create here that validation. So for that we have to inherit the Odoo's by default features, right? So widget feature we can use to create our own validation feature here. So for that, like we can use here odoo.define. So you can see here we can use here the module name, right? Then after dot, and we can use here like new student form, sorry, and here we can use here the function require, and we can use here something like this, right? And we can use here use restrict, and here we can implement here, let's say the widget, right? So let's say public widget equal to require, and this variable we are trying to extend the features but our own way. All right, so using the extend feature we are trying to implement the validations. All right, so let's say the public widget dot registry dot, then after let's say new student form, right? Public widget dot exclude. Don't worry about this exclude. There is a one more feature is also available as a include, right? So whenever you are trying to create your own stuff in the JS part, right, then you can just use the exclude. Let's say if you want to inherit or extend the existing features in the JS part, that time you can just use here the include. So that is the main difference here. So in this case, like we are not inheriting or let's say we are not extending actually the existing functionality, but let's say we are creating our own validations part here, right? So for that, like we are using here the exclude. So after that, like we can use here the selector. So for that, you can see here we already implemented this div tag. Under this div tag, whatsoever we are performing, based on the actions, it will automatically call here the specific method which we are trying to implement, right? So here this is the id, right? This is the div tag and this is the id, and which is always, and here this id would be always unique, otherwise it will mixed up. Okay, so here I'm trying to use, like I want to just use this selector, so whatsoever performance we are doing under this one, it will perform here. Okay, so here like we can also implement the events. So which kind of event we have to use? Let's say the submit button, right? This one, this submit button, once we click here, it will automatically first call the our JS file, and after that, like some validations performance is valid, then after we are trying to push those data to the server. So this is the button, like we can use here the submit, and here like let's say which method we have to use. So let's say we can click like let's say button, or let's say on submit button, right? And this is the method we have to create. So comma, and here we can use like this function event comma, like console.log hello, this submit button clicked, right? And now the thing is, we have to, let's say, register this JavaScript file in the manifest file using the assets feature, right? So what it is, the front-end development, the first session, you can see like over there, like I already provided the overview what is assets and how you can implement all the stuff, right? So here we can just use, and by the way, we are using here version 15, right? Not the 16, but soon, like maybe in this October, like a new version already roll out, which is the Odoo version 17. After that, like all these stuff we are trying to migrate into the oval framework. So you have to just understand like how you can also deal with the old Odoo versions, right? And I will also trying to like give you the same demo in older version. So in an older version, we don't need to register in the manifest file. Instead, we have to create such XML file, and here we have to register such JS file or CSS file or SCSS file or any other XML templates available under the static. Those files we have to register in the XML file in the older versions. I mean like 14 to the older version, but in the 15th version onwards, we have to compulsory use under this manifest file. Okay, so this is the main difference here. Now we can use here the assets, right? And here we can use here, let's say the web assets front end. And here first thing is we have to provide this name, the portal name. We don't need to add here like this or like this, all right? Only the module name, that's it. After that, like let's say static src, then after JS, and then after you can see this new student validation.js is available, right? You can use like this way, or you can use something like this way. Like this way. So it means like all the XML, JS, CSS, SCSS file automatically exclude here, right? We can register like this way, but right now this is the wrong practice if you are a fresher, all right? So you will not understand the full path first. So first thing is you can understand this full path, after that you can go to the shortcut way. Now this file successfully registered, and what we have to do is we can just restart the service. Okay, and here in the console, let me close this one, and let's say I will try to use, like, let's select this XML3. Oh, so we have some error. You can see here this new student validation, right? Error. So required is not defined, required is not defined. So I think I missed something in the JS file. Oh, we have to use the strict. So this is the line number 1 here. So let me restart the service one more time, refresh the let's say refresh the screen like this way, and now you can see it's called a strict. Let me add here XML3. Let me check one more time. So the line number 4. Okay, so here it says required. Okay, so this is my spelling mistake actually, sorry for that. So the problem is when you don't copy paste and you are trying to manually write down the code, right, you have such issues. So let's say here again we have some issue in the public widget, right? Exclude is not a function, public widget. Oh, my mistake actually, this is not a exclude, okay, it's a extend and include, right? So here, like, let me go to in the home page, and now you can see that error gone, right? It's successfully implemented. Here we can use here the alert, hi. And now you can see, let me first refresh the screen so JS file automatically update. And here let's say if I will do something like this, and now you can see the hi message is available, plus you can see our code is also worked, right? So it means like our this code is actually working fine. And let's say in the front end side, if you want to check this feature is working or not, you can just use here console.log and hi, this is for the testing purpose, log write down. And let's say now after that it will refresh the screen, right? And now you can see once the refresh the screen, you can see here hi, this is for the testing purpose, log write down. So actually this file is working fine, right? This one. So here, like, what we are doing is, like, let me close this manifest file, let me minimize this one, and here we are trying to implement one more error message. So for that, let me copy this one, paste here. Instead of this danger and success, we are using warning, and simple like hi, this is warning message. And the first thing is we are trying to upgrade this module. In case you don't know how to upgrade the module using PyCharm configuration, please check in the editor level playlist, I already explained. So let me upgrade this module. I'm going to in the list view, and once I will click here, you can see this warning message is available. So using this warning messages, we are trying to figure it out, like if the name is not, it's a blank, we will try to raise this warning message. Let's say the school option is not properly selected here, I mean the blank, we are also trying to let's say provide here such warning messages instead of the red color or the green color, right? Because we already used that one for the server side, and now this is the different color, so you can understand. Now let me close this part, and simple I will go to here in the JS file, and simple I will try to get all these two fields informations. Okay, so let's say here like $, and both having some specific ID, right? So here you can see this is the name field ID, so we can use here like this to this dot, then after input, oh sorry, not like this, but input name equal to name. Sorry, like this, and then we can use here the value. So whatsoever we are adding the value, like let's say the WebLearns, or let's say the Tata, like that, right? The student name actually. So to get the value we are using this val like this, and simple we can use here some variable like let's say student name, and same for the school. So first thing is we are trying to use like this, select name equal to school, and we are trying to remove this one because this is the select option, right? So simple we are trying to get the value like this way, like school name, school name dot, let's say the val, let's say the val is not match, right? Let's say it's a blank, then by default we can use like 0. Okay, and here let's say I will try to comment this part, and simple I will try to add here some validation. So let's say if not student name, right? So what we are doing is like the first thing is we can use here the specific ID like student client side validation message. So I'm trying to use like this big name so you can understand, but in your case you don't need to worry about the long name, you can just use the short name and plus the unique name. Okay, so simple like $, like this, and to access the ID we can use here the hash sign dot HTML. Let's say student, please enter student name if let's say not school name, right? So we can copy this one and we paste here, please select school. So we have these two different let's say the messages, right? Let me like restart the service plus upgrade the module. Why? Because we added here the specific ID. Now I'm going to the home page here, and now you can see by default this message is available, right? So we don't need to display here every time, so we can just use here the style display none, and now you can see. Now you can see it's hide, right? Now the problem is like when we add here this message, right, it won't be display again. So for that we can use here something like this, show, and the same thing is here. Again, restart the service, And here, let's say I will try to select, let's say, the XML4 but not the student name. So you can see it's raised the error and refresh the screen. So I think there is some error message is there. So let's see what it is. So this alert message, homepage, student, and once I will click here, okay, so it's raised already. So let me inspect here, debugger mode here, let's say, and now you can see this WP portal and this is the file, right? And you can see here, and let me add here the debugger mode, and once I will click, now you can see we can debug the code. You can see here, please enter student name is available, right? You can see after that. So there is something, this cool name, right? So this is the object, actually we have to use this one instead of this one, so this is our mistake. So here let me add something like this, restart the service plus now you can see this, please enter student name, right? Now let's say this message is skipped because we selected the proper name here, and you can see the value is also getting 1 and the alert message, right? And after, you can see it will directly submit to server, but here we have to prevent this submit request in the backend side. Once that yellow button the yellow message, it will automatically display, right? So here in this case we have to use the default method evt, this is the event name, and here we can just use prevent default, and the same thing we can use here. So what happened, it won't be sent to the server. Okay, so let me restart the service. I'm trying to refresh the screen like this, so our code automatically update like this way. So let's say if I will do like this, sorry, we don't need to use this one. So you can see, please enter student name, and so you can see line number 19 executed, so it stopped to execute the submit request. All right, so let me also, let's say, save this like this way. And let's say if I will use like this, right? Okay, so everything is good. So it's a request directly to the server, right? And we didn't select here anything, and somehow our code is not working. So let me add here the debugger mode, and now let's see the stuff. Let's say the 0, right? So we are getting here the 0, and let's say, or school underscore name equal to let's say 0, then this method will work. Like let's say in the blank string, or let's say the 0. So let me restart the service, and again I'm going to here, and let me stop the debugger mode here first. So let's say TTT, and now you can see, please select school, right? Now if you remember the server side, we saw one more scenario, like some person, the smart guys always like hack some features. So what they are doing is, maybe sometimes what happened, like the value they will use something like this, right? Like 7UU like that way for the first option, and they are selecting this first option. So in our case, both having a value, right? And it will directly send to the server, correct? And still, like we already managed this part in the backend side, so due to that, like it won't be rise any error. But the thing is, if you can also like prevent from the client side validations using the regular expression, right? So for that, we can use here, let's say the not, then after like school.name.match, and here we have to provide the regular expressions, right? Only the digit allow 0 to 9 plus, then after let's say dollar like this, and we can just use like this. So please select proper school option, and simple, we are trying to stop the request to the backend. Now let's I'm going to here, let's I'm giving you the student name using the first option. Now the thing is, let's say we can use like this digit plus some more like alphanumeric data, and now you can see, please select proper school option. Using like this way, you can implement client side validation, right? So here the question is, what is client side and server side validations? So the thing is, like server side validation means like it will go the request sent to the server, and after that server will handle these two data is correct or not. So based on the lot of scenarios, we have to pass out the validations, and if the data is correct, then after we are trying to create a records, right? So we implemented here using the controller, those are the validations, right? We already discussed. Now the problem is, let's say the why we choose the client side, because every time like any users come to here and they are trying to create a new records, right? But without checking in the front end side, like all the validation stuff, and they are directly sending to the server. So that means like server always busy to check this request. So to prevent such multiple calls to the server, we can implement here the server side validation. So at least like once we have a like client side validation, so it will only send the request to the server like filtered data, not the dynamic data. Like let's say you already saw, right? So here in the options, instead of the digit, they are passing something different options, and that options is not eligible. Then what happens, sometimes we are we missed the server side validations, so it will throws the error and it will break the flow. So due to such cases, we can implement the server side validation. So here you learn one more scenario, how to create a JS file, how to create let's say implement your own JS file like this way, plus how to extend your own feature using the selector extends events and using this extend keyword. Let's say this feature already available in Odoo, and you want to just extend this own submit button. You have to just inherit and add your own code here, right? So that is also possible using the include keyword here, and based on that you can also call the super method. Then after you can call your you can add your own code, but that thing we will see in our later session. In our POS session, I will try to create a sales order. I will try to hide or let's say show buttons based on the conditions, plus I will try to show you in the backend side, especially in the list view, or let's say in the Kanban view. Like here we are trying to add one more button and to perform some operation. right? Using, you can see here having some download button and this create button, right? So beside here we are also trying to add one button using this JavaScript call, using the front end call, right? So if you have any doubt related to this topic, please comment below, and see you in our next session.